I'm your host, Jason Burkeen, alongside Doug, doing the ones and twos on the computer, and we got Coach David Morris is with us, man. Welcome, Coach, to Gbr Weekly.
Thanks for having me.
Brad's out of town, and so I'm just happy that you're here, just to kind of go over some stuff before the game, and then tomorrow you're going to be calling the game with me, and we got a special guest. I don't want to tell everybody who the special guest is yet, because I know they won't be able to wait, but they wouldn't be able to wait till game time to hear, but anyway, so he'll be here tomorrow before the game time. But here we go, CFSB War Memorial Stadium tomorrow, the Battle of the Birds, Mayfield and Graves County. I mean, what do you think, Coach?
Yeah, just like you said, it's a rivalry game. We talked about this a little bit. So, the rival, I truly believe that Mayfield is probably the better team.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper, if you look at it, if you just go out and play it, I think it's fine. But, you throw the rival in there and you kind of throw the books out. So you never really know what's going to play out. First game of the season, they've all had a couple of scrimmages. They really don't know. I mean, they're trying to get a feel for how their team's going to gel together and things like that. So it's, I still think Mayfield's a better football team.
Sure.
We'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be it's obviously a great atmosphere.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we got, basically neighbors playing neighbors here, because sometimes there's some Graves County guys that come to Mayfield and vice versa. And so, but after the end of the night, we're friends again. But, someone was like, go Eagles. I was like, yeah, go Mayfield. And we're enemies as of tomorrow night. But after that, then it's all about, we're friends again. But last year I know that the Eagles didn't score against Mayfield's defense, and after a couple of scrimmages against Owensboro as well as Central Hardin, I mean Mayfield looks pretty good on the defensive end of things,
Yeah, Mayfield's always very, they're so well coached. I mean, yes, my brother's the head coach.
That's fair to say, your brother.
But even all his assistants, Coach Dew and Hatchell and another Hatchell and Watkins and all those, and Mike, they've been around football for many, many years. So they know how to coach these kids. These kids know exactly what's expected of them. And that's the main thing, is that, they'll find out through the two scrimmages who's ready. That's why you do the scrimmages. That's why they're having this, to figure out who can play, who can back up. But Mayfield is, they're just extremely well coached. The kids play to another level. I had a lot of people ask me, how does Mayfield do it year in, year out? How do they do that? And I don't think there's one reason. I think it's, it's obviously a culture.
Right.
I mean, these kids are expected when they walk and they put that red helmet on, something clicks. It's got to click.
It does.
So,
it does.
But it starts in the lower levels, no question about it. But I think they have some good young coaches that are teaching fundamentals, things like that. Teaching how to tackle, teaching how to block. So then it goes on from there. The middle schools obviously have good coaches, and it just keeps going on from there. And when they get to that high school level, they're ready to go. And it's exciting to see all these kids come up from elementary school and all the way up, and now it's their time to shine. And they seem to shine most of the time.
And that's the thing. Unless you've experienced it, you will not understand.
Sure.
I played in the alumni game, the first game. I was overweight. I was slow. I wanted to play though. And I promise you, after all the practices, and I was hurting, but when it was game time and I put the pants on, the adrenaline took over, and it was like, oh my gosh, I feel it. And it's, unless you've experienced it, you will never know what it's like to put this red helmet on, I do know that Graves County had a good scrimmage against Henderson, and they actually, on paper, won that game, and that was saying a lot, I do know that there's a couple of guys that got hurt in their first scrimmage against Callaway. That's one of the receivers, I think Newsom, and then Doug, you was saying Mars, yeah. And we're going to give Mars a shout out because he wants to contribute, but he was at physical therapy, I guess, earlier, and Doug had talked to him and said, hey, he's here in spirit, but as far as body, I think he's a little bit banged up, so he's not going to be playing. So I do know that Graves County is a little bit lower on that end because they've got a couple guys that's key players that's going to be out. Mayfield, everybody's asking. I didn't see Judge in the scrimmage. Well, he had a procedure done. He is definitely fine. He's A-OK. He did not play in the scrimmage. That's why you didn't see him. He'll be back. He's 100%. And it's no big deal. He just had a small procedure right before season started. I do know Jalen Bass. He had broke his leg, dislocated his ankle, or something with the ankle injury. Also, in baseball season, he will be back. Now, he is definitely A-okay to play. He will see limited playing time if he gets in the game. They're just trying to work him out. He did practice. I do know that Wednesday he was on the field and looking fine. In here, Coach Joe said in here, he's fine. It's just, getting his legs back under him and getting in shape. We do know that one of the Kent guys, a little bit banged up. You'll see probably limited playing time if he sees. But we've got guys stepping up left and right. You was talking about, it's just a culture. I mean, it's just reloading every time. We got Ashton, number 69, came in at the scrimmage against Owensboro Senior. He's a true sophomore, 15. And when I say the true sophomore, a lot of these guys have been, with the COVID year, they're like 17 and is a sophomore. He's only 15, and I mean, he showed up and showed out. And he's definitely with Trey Jackson on the defensive tackles, or however they put them now, guard or tackle position. Right. I mean, them guys are studs. You got the Kent twins on the side, and then you throw in, we actually have a freshman, I just found out, a freshman defensive end is going to be seeing playing time, and also Matt Whiteside, which is just like his daddy, a loose cannon and can make a tackle and just everywhere, and love to see them guys do that. So we've got some guys going to be stepping up. I mean, what have you heard? Any kind of buzz you've heard about Graves County or anything?
I haven't. I know the addition of the new head coach, Lance Gregory, and I think, personal opinion, I think Coach Gregory does a good job. I think he understands the game. I think he understands his personnel and puts them in the best possible situation. And that's all you can do. Personnel dictates a lot what you can do as far as a coach. So I think he's really good at that. And his son is the quarterback. His son, I think, is
he's very good.
He's a solid player. So he's going to make some things happen. They're going to move the ball a little bit, I believe. But as far as running the football, I don't really know how good they are running the ball. But I think they're going to go to the air a little more with the Gregory kid at quarterback, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. But I understand that the secondary at Mayfield is pretty solid too, with the addition of Xavier Biggers.
Oh, welcome back, Xavier.
Yeah.
Go Mayfield.
So I mean, it makes a big difference out there. He's a tremendous athlete, and I know they were excited to get him from Murray, and his dad Terrence played at Mayfield, so it's
and his granddad
Chris. Yeah. So it's that's tradition also, and it's good to have him in red and black. But I think that's going to make a major difference, probably offensive and defensive side. So Mayfield, again, I always talk about Coach Duke. Coach Duke's a good personal friend of mine. I just think he does such a great job with those kids, and they love playing for him. That's the main thing. They believe in the system. They believe in what he's doing. And when you believe in what you're doing, all you got to do is get those kids to react and get them lined up. And football's a reaction sport, always has been, always will be. You get them lined up, don't want to coach them, let them play.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they do best there at Mayfield.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all the way, you got Ian Williams over there. I mean, he's just, what is he, a junior now? Yeah. And I mean, big time, linebacker. We're throwing in a Morris kid. There's a couple of twins. We got about 20 Morrises on the team. And I mean, he's going to be the, I think it's either Caden or I think it's Caden Morris. One of the Morris twins, they're going to be the other linebacker. And then you said Xavier on the lockdown corner. We got, we just got, Bray John back there. We got Braden Morris back. I mean, every position. I mean, we're doing Kirby again. He's going to be a sophomore. And we've even got guys on the bench that's going to see some playing time that you've never heard of. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sophomores and juniors alike. It's just going to go in there and just help out any way they can. Some people have asked me about the line play on the offensive side of the ball with Jalen Bass. Kind of being limited playing time that's going to open up a spot. But I do know that we've had some guys that stepped up. Talked to some coaching staff yesterday. They said they're stepping up, and I do know that I won't make this known, but man, we've got some guys on the offensive side of the ball that have stepped up and is going to step in, and they're going to be in the scheme of things. And bravo, because that's what happens at Mayfield. If you see an opening, hey, you go ahead and take it. You go ahead and take that spot, and they just work hard. Hit the weights, and them guys have done that. And that's what happens at Mayfield. The younger ones are just stepping up, and I'm gonna tell you, on the offensive side of the ball, we got Zane going back, and then we got Xavier, Bray, Matt Hoover. I mean, the list goes on and on. Will Morris. We have another tight end on the other side that can catch the pass. I mean, Mayfield's got awesome weapons, and I think it's going to be a good night for football.
I do too.
And I think Mayfield will come out on top.
I do too. And again, you talked about Zane. Zane is this will be his third year starter. I mean, he obviously knows what he's doing now. And it makes a big difference when you got a senior out there that's kind of leading these boys and getting them lined up and throwing good balls to them and making these secondary reads. And it doesn't happen when you're a sophomore. You kind of teach them, hey, you got 2 reads. If it's not there, you go this one. If you're not, you take off and run
Right.
or throw it away. So it's different now. I mean, he ought to be. He's a seasoned player. He ought to know exactly what's going on in this offense. So to me, that makes a huge difference. And then of course you got the addition of JoJo. If he's 100%, I mean, he's a tremendous athlete, great running back, and he's a hard person to tackle. I mean, that's usually that first person doesn't bring him down.
Right.
So that's going to be a big task for Graves County defense, no question. They're going to be, I guarantee, they're going to be watching him. But if they start doing that, they start loading the box, and that's what they look at up top. They start loading the box. Now talk about the box, the tackle box. Defensive ends, linebackers. They start loading the box, and we'll start throwing the ball. Right. They start backing out, then we'll start running the ball. So it's kind of a,
the run opens up the pass, and the pass opens up the run.
The offense that everybody runs these days is it's not complex. It's basically just get it to these guys that make things happen.
Right.
Short passes. You'll take some passes every now and then down the field, but it's these screens and things like that are just you get them in those guys' hands and
let them do
they make the quarterback look good with a 75-yard run when it's a 4-yard pass.
Right.
So I mean that's how this offense works. And then if they start cheating up and you go deep, or it's just so that's why I say the coaching staff is really they're amazing. To be honest with you, everything they see they're upstairs and they're looking at things and that other staffs really don't get. You know what I mean? So it's and then you got Coach Anderson, or I call him Coach, but
I know.
our
He's
superintendent,
there.
Joe Anderson, and Joey's a great football coach.
Yeah.
He's now the big dog there, and Joey likes being part of it, and so he stays in touch with what they're doing offensively, and he helps a bunch. Mike Rogers is up there. I mean,
And most of them guys could head coach somewhere.
well, they have been head coaches.
Right.
They have. Mike was a head coach. And it's just it goes on. Stephen Hatchell was a head coach. Coach Dew was a head coach. So they know exactly what it takes. And so I mean, it's the staff. That's why it's intact. That's why Mayfield is Mayfield.
Right.
They keep the staff intact. I was thinking about on the way over here. We've had 3 head coaches since 1969 here.
Correct.
3 head coaches.
And your dad?
My dad was here 24 years, and Coach Leahy was here for 5, and now my brother's been here since '99.
Right.
So I mean, it's it's a culture, and they don't want it to die just like anybody else does.
Right.
And another thing I was thinking about on the way over here was with the adversity this town has had in the last year, and it's very sad. I mean, I'm a Mayfield guy through and through, always will be. But Friday night football is kind of what these people live for, and I think that's a great thing.
Sure.
And I even look forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you start getting chills thinking about it.
Oh,
So,
man.
hit
somebody.
That's right, but that's why Mayfield is Mayfield. That's why it is what it is. So, obviously the atmosphere will be fantastic Friday. And that's what you want. That's high school football ought to look like that everywhere you go.
Right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
And Mayfield is the 3rd winningest program in the history, in the nation. Right now, Valdosta, and I think Louisville Male is the 1 and 2, Mayfield at 3. And if we have a couple of good years, we can catch actually Valdosta. I mean, Male is only a few games ahead of us, and then Valdosta is, I think, 11 or 12 or something like that. So we can catch them.
It's kind of amazing when
Yeah.
you think about it.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, you think of a small town, Western Kentucky, 2A school, single A, 2A. They're 3rd in the nation with total wins. I mean, it's just.
And I think we started later than them other schools too. So,
Probably. I don't know the dates.
10 years.
10 years later.
10 years later, yeah. I think
Those
it's
guys
about
10 years, which, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was also thinking about this on the way over here when I was talking about, I was coming over here. When my dad coached, he coached for 24 years. He never had a losing season.
Right.
Coach Leahy never had a losing season. My brother never had a losing season. You think about that. 69, 55 years? 55 years of football, never had a losing season. I think my dad had 6-4 was his worst record. I think. Mom's got all the schedules up, when he had for 24 years. But I mean, it's just amazing to me
Right.
when you think about it. Of course, we've been in it, so we know we've all been to school there, But a lot of people don't realize how crazy it is.
Well, I remember I graduated in '93, so football season in '93, I was fixing to go to school, so I went to the first few games. We were 2-3.
That's right.
Coach Lady told the story. He said there was actually for sale signs in his yard. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh my God, you know. I mean, you know, and they ended up winning state, you know, and they just bounced back. And like you said, perseverance, and that's what this community is about, you know. And we've had to bounce back. Tornado, now the flooding. I mean, this. What else is next? I mean,
Yeah, adversity's been crazy here for the last year or so, but I mean, again, this is what it's all about. Friday night lights.
yeah, that's exactly right.
So that's why everybody comes. That's why they show up. You know, that end zone. I've taken family members that have never been to a Mayfield game before. You know, and it's just they're amazed and they're like, "You gotta be kidding me! Is it like this every Friday?" I'm like, "Probably, yeah, pretty close." You know?
Yeah,
so
right.
they don't have that in these places,
Right.
You know, and so that's why it's so important to this town.
Right. It's crazy. I know. I think it was either last year or the year before we was doing this on a video, and we were giving away a shirt or something, and I was picking a name out, and you know, and it Jane Morris, you know, Florida. I'm like, okay,
Steiner.
cool.
Steiner.
Oh, is it Steiner now? Oh, well, I mean, you know, she probably had a hyphen in there, but I was just like, you know, Jane Morris Snyder or whatever, and I'm like, hey, congratulations, you won. I had no idea it's your sister. I mean, I knew you and Coach Joe, but I didn't know you had an older sister. And she's like, yeah, Carolyn and Jack is my parents. I'm like, what? I didn't know. And that was by luck. You know, that was an honest, you know, like right there. And so it's pretty cool because she said, you know, there's times that, you know, she don't get to go to see a game, you know, she can listen to it on the radio, but actually seeing it, Billy Collins in Seattle, he watches it, I mean, downtown Tony Brown, you know, he's like, dude, we can watch it where we're at and we won't miss a game. And I just want to say I appreciate it. I know the Griffins, I think one is in Louisiana, one's in Atlanta. They said they had steak night on Friday nights, you know, and they'll watch the game. They'll watch the game. I'm getting chills, man. Before I hit somebody, man, I better just chill. But hey, if you're not doing nothing tomorrow, be at CFSB War Memorial Stadium. You better get there early. The game time kickoff starts at 7. So I know we're going to be setting up. We're going to probably try to get on the air somewhere around 6:40, 6:45ish. As long as everything's ready to go, we're trying to upgrade our equipment. So today's a good test to be there. Hope you can hear us and everything. But like I said, David will be there, me, and of course we got another guy that's going to be there, and he's going to be raring to go. He's coming from Nashville. Oh, I can't forget. Brad is actually out of town, so he won't be there. And so now, Doug Sims is going to be doing the IT thing. And we appreciate everything he's done with us. I'm going to tell you something. He has worked hard the last 2 days. I know because I've called him, like, come on, man. But this new stuff, we're trying to just upgrade, and that's what it takes a lot. And I'm not, you know, I don't understand everything. So Doug's done well, and we just try to put everything together and just use our talents the best way we can. But tomorrow night is going to be a bird fight. Feathers is going to fly tomorrow night. CFSB War Memorial Stadium, be there. And if you're not there, you can watch us right on the video. You want to say anything?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. I appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night. I'm going to try to make more games this year. And, you know, I coached Marshall County, couldn't make a lot of them. So I'm excited about it. I mean, I really am. I'm excited to see this team. You know, my brother retired from education, still coaches, still loves it.
Yeah, he loves it.
And, you know, and that's a good thing. And we talked about that. But, I mean, he knows he still wants to be there. He's got a son that's a freshman. So, you know, he may want to stick it out through the next 4 years. I don't know what his plans are, but
maybe the next 8 years, we don't, you know.
you never know. I mean, I don't know if he can get away from it. It's just something that he loves. And that's great. If you love something, they absolutely stick with it. So it's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to it.
And yeah, well, hey, for David Morris, I'm Jason McKean. We're out. We'll see you tomorrow. Go Big Red.